Welcome to Everything Creepy. Turn off the lights, cuddle up tight, and enjoy the story. My name is Ryan Mitchell, and I volunteered with the Red Ridge Mountain Search and Rescue Team for almost a decade. I've seen plenty in those years. Lost hikers, frightened families, injuries, and sadly, even fatalities. But nothing in my experience prepared me for the disappearance of Adam Holloway. It was mid-September when the call first came in. The leaves had begun to turn, fiery oranges and yellows blanketing Red Ridge Mountain in breathtaking display. Days were still warm, but the evenings had grown cold, carrying whispers of the harsh winter ahead. Adam, an experienced hiker and nature photographer from out of state, had set out alone 3 days prior to capture the beauty of the changing season. When he failed to check in with his wife as promised, the alarm was raised. The briefing was straightforward. Adam Holloway was last seen entering the forest at 8:15 a.m. 3 days ago. He wore sturdy hiking boots, carried ample supplies, and had a full camera setup. Weather conditions had been ideal. Nothing indicated he should have faced significant difficulties. Our dogs, trained bloodhounds skilled at tracking since days old, were restless, whining and tugging eagerly at their leads. Confidence was high. Finding hikers after just a few days usually ended well. We entered the forest with practiced precision, splitting into pairs and covering wide search zones methodically. My partner, Sarah, a seasoned volunteer herself, walked alongside me, calling Adam's name at regular intervals, our voices echoing through the dense woodland. The dogs sniffed diligently, their noses pressed close to the forest floor, moving methodically back and forth. Hours passed with no sign of Adam. Concern grew steadily within me, though outwardly we remained composed and professional. By late afternoon, frustration began to edge out optimism. Then a call crackled over our radios. Team 3 had discovered something unusual. Sarah and I hurried over, pulse quickening. When we arrived, we saw Dave, another volunteer, standing near a clearing, face pale and drawn. On the ground lay Adam's expensive camera, carefully placed atop a smooth, flat stone, undamaged, lens neatly capped. Beside it, arranged carefully in an almost ritualistic pattern, lay several leaves, each perfectly symmetrical, identical in shape and size. My stomach twisted uneasily. Something was deeply wrong. The dogs sniffed cautiously, suddenly reluctant, tails tucked between their legs. Normally eager, they now refused to follow any scent, whining nervously. Determined, we expanded our search radius, shouting louder, desperation creeping into our voices. Yet hours later, we remained empty-handed. Darkness soon forced us to halt temporarily, our hearts heavy with frustration and worry. Nightfall on Red Ridge Mountain is never peaceful. The forest transforms as darkness falls. Shadows stretch ominously, noises become unsettling. Wildlife wrestles quietly through the undergrowth. Our campsite was tense, volunteers sharing quiet theories, none reassuring. Sleep was scarce and uneasy. Dreams plagued me. Adam's camera lying atop that stone, leaves circling slowly, whispering softly in voices that felt ancient and knowing. Each awakening found me drenched in sweat, heart pounding. By sunrise, anxiety hung thickly over our camp. We resumed immediately, widening our grid, covering increasingly difficult terrain. Late morning brought another chilling discovery. Adam's hiking boots, arranged neatly at the base of a towering oak, laces perfectly tied, soles pristine, no mud, no dirt, no scuffs. It was impossible. Now deeply unsettled, we radioed base camp, updating them. No footprints led to or from the boots. The dogs again refused to approach. Sarah glanced nervously around, gripping her radio tightly, her expression mirroring my own unease. As daylight waned, strange feelings intensified. The forest seemed watchful, heavy, oppressive, as if silently mocking our confusion and distress. Volunteers spoke less, movements becoming tense, hurried. The sense of urgency was palpable. On the fourth day, still no closer to answers, dread settled heavily within us. That afternoon, my radio crackled suddenly. Sarah, searching alone nearby, sounded frightened. "Ryan, come quickly." Her voice trembled. "There's something here you need to see." I sprinted toward her coordinates, pulse racing. Sarah stood frozen near a shallow stream, pointing wordlessly. On a rock, dripping wet yet strangely pristine, sat Adam's journal. Hands shaking, I opened it. The final entry was dated just hours after Adam entered the forest. "Something watches from the trees, not animal, not human. Leaves whisper, shadows follow. Cannot leave trail, afraid." Cold dread filled my chest. Sarah stared wide-eyed, breath shallow. That night at camp, we discussed aborting the search. Volunteers were visibly shaken. Rational explanations no longer held comfort. Sleep became impossible as the night filled with unfamiliar sounds. Low whispers rustling through the trees, a quiet mocking laughter carried gently by the wind. Exhausted and terrified, I finally drifted into restless sleep, only to awaken suddenly. The campsite was silent, unnaturally so. No wildlife stirred, no leaves rustled. Something watched from the darkness beyond the firelight, unseen but felt intensely. Heart pounding, I slowly turned, gaze sweeping nervously. Two glowing eyes stared back, perfectly still, unblinking, inhuman. Panic surged violently. I scrambled upright, gripping my flashlight tightly, but the eyes vanished instantly, leaving only impenetrable darkness. Shouts erupted from tents around me, other volunteers having similar experiences. We clustered closely together, terrified and confused. By dawn, the decision was unanimous. We had to abandon the search. Yet, as we packed hastily, another discovery chilled me deeply. My own hiking boots, removed silently during sleep, now arranged neatly beside my tent entrance, laces perfectly tied, solace impossibly clean. A horrifying realization gripped me. Whatever took Adam now hunted us, methodically and deliberately. Desperately fleeing the forest, our retreat was panicked and chaotic. Shadows danced mockingly among trees, laughter echoing softly, leaves rustling menacingly. We emerged eventually, shaken and changed forever. Adam Holloway was never found. Officially, authorities labeled his disappearance unexplained, eventually forgotten by most. But not by me. Years passed, yet nightmares persist, glowing eyes staring silently, leaves whispering dark secrets. I no longer volunteer. Wilderness terrifies me now, its ancient darkness having marked me permanently. Sometimes, late at night, I awake abruptly, pulse racing, certain that something watches silently from shadows, patient and unyielding. And on rare occasions, stepping outside nervously, I discover small leaves, perfectly symmetrical, arranged carefully at my doorstep, a silent, chilling reminder that Red Ridge Mountain never forgets. And whatever resides there waits patiently, eternally watchful, leaving no trace behind. If this gave you chills, hit subscribe for more stories that blur the line between reality and the impossible. And remember, just because it sounds unbelievable doesn't mean it isn't true.